Everything didn't come from you. You just tuned in. Got a jeweler too. Yeah. Log in, level up, that's the code. Tap in, download, then explode. Timeline talking, but I move in style. Every bookmark, building well. Information is the new goal. Scroll right, mind bright, hardcore. What you learn really drives your road. Every click could be overload. Information is the new goal. What you learn decides your road. Tell me what you searching for.
Welcome to your go-to source for the latest in entertainment news, celebrity updates, and reality TV highlights. Discover trending stories and cultural moments that everyone is discussing. Here, you'll also find insightful commentary designed to inspire and motivate you, along with valuable insights on workplace dynamics, lifestyle choices, and home and garden topics. Let's begin with part 2, reviewing a deep dive into the dynamics between DJ Akademiks and Charlamagne the God, also including the Lil Baby conflict. Today we begin with DJ Akademiks responding to Lil Baby, calling him the feds. DJ Akademiks and Lil Baby. Over time, the tension seemed to ease until Akademiks discovered that Lil Baby had his assistant try to set him up over his public comments about the rapper. Akademiks believed the beef was resolved and thought Lil Baby was uninvolved until proven otherwise. When Akademiks was told that Lil Baby was behind it all, for Akademiks, it was then up. And everything was everything. Even afterward, Akademiks gave some of Lil Baby's newer music positive reviews. However, things shifted again when the altercation went viral. Akademiks resumed criticizing Lil Baby's music and Atlanta as a whole, calling out some of the same rappers who claim not to be rats as rats themselves from their interrogation videos. The pair were also linked to a potential boxing match through Aiden Ross. However, the event never came together. Akademiks later added and tweeted, "Lil Baby and the Atlanta rat rappers ain't finna escape. I'll make sure of it. Detective Gucci, Lieutenant Young Thug, and Sergeant Lil Baby. We're on to you all now." I won't speak against Lil Baby's music, and I couldn't tell you the name of any of Lil Baby's raps because I probably thought that it was Young Thug, since they came afterwards, sounding the same to me. I'm just saying, I do find it suspect that he's now mentioning Akademiks after all the other things happening around him, especially when so many others are against Drake, and when learning about Akademiks' recent interactions with Drake. But listening to Akademiks' recent video today, I'm glad he doesn't back down from any of the so-called thugs. I laughed my ass off, but I don't think he should let what they say or do hinder his work, because he's in the media. He talks about hip-hop and what's going on. That's his right to think and feel the way he wants. Here's what was cracking me up in the video. I'm not going to lie.
Rats. Lil Baby is a rat by association. Because all the niggas he's hanging out with, we're looking at what they got going on. It look like, just throw some cheese in it, and this might be like, it might look like the Knicks parade. You throw some cheese, find where Lil Baby's hanging out in Atlanta, throw some cheese in there, and it might look like the New York City parade, man. It is crazy. Lil Baby is calling me the feds, but he don't want to talk about his friends being the feds. We don't want to talk about that? We don't want to talk about that, chat? The other chat. They said act the police. Well, here's the funny part. Well, I don't make my money off fake images like that. So I don't care if what you say about me is true or not. But if you going to lie on me, let's just talk about you and all your friends. If I'm the cops and I'm the feds, well, I just want to let you know that you know who I be riding in the squad car with? Dominique, Lil Baby. You know who's our lieutenant? Young Thug. You know who's our sergeant? Gucci Man. That's what it is. The thing with these Atlanta rappers, this is why Atlanta's down bad. Atlanta's down bad because y'all don't want to admit the truth. Y'all are down bad because y'all had Big Bank y'all sent out trying to answer the question of what is street shit. Y'all have gone every way trying to explain this, but not take accountability. Young Thug can't go to Atlanta, so that's why he moved to Florida. He's in Miami. You know who moved to Florida too? Lil Baby. Lil Baby moved out of there because he got to go. He moved to Florida that he could go hang with his best friend. But then he's calling other niggas rats. How we listen to Lil Baby talking about that type of stuff? Now I get it. Because some people might act, you're not gangster. I get it. But I'm telling you why gangster rap is dead in Atlanta. Until y'all call a spade, it will never be back. How your man, here's a great idea for a song. Tell us how your man flirted with the cops, gave the number, and told the cops if the cop will fuck with him, he'll snitch on everybody else. But you won't do that. Dumb pussy, my nigga. First of all, I called you the box match. You didn't want no parts. So let's get that out the way, right? We were going to set it up before you had your man try me. You didn't want to show up. We got an address. You didn't want no parts. So let's keep that in mind, right? All right, bet. So we know you pussy. Here's the thing. So you wanted none of that. Why did I forget my point? Did I forget my point? I did forget my point. Hold on. My bad. I did forget my point. Wait, no. I got it. My bad. So before anybody knew anything going on, me and Lil Baby was in DMs. We set up a location. He said he wanted to squabble. I gave him a location. He told me he was trolling. Literally. It was in New York. He gave me a random address. I said, I bet. I'm finna show up. Whatever. Come to find out he was never in New York City. He fake squash beef with me. Literally had his people still do marketing and shit with me and shit like that. Just that I could get off his ass that he could drop a project, right? And then he tried to low-key backdoor me with that nigga doing whatever, right? So let me explain. Literally had his people still do marketing and shit with me and shit like that. Just that I could get off his ass that he could drop a project, right? And then he tried to low-key backdoor me with that nigga doing whatever, right? So let me explain the Thug part. Thug to me is what broke Atlanta completely. Because all of these niggas in Atlanta are hypocrites. They don't want to call Thug a snitch. And they've called everybody else a snitch for the same thing. They all act like they're doing some other shit. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I use Thug. I really like Thug's music. I feel bad using Thug, but I ain't gonna lie. Y'all only do this for Atlanta. Nobody gets to excuse behavior because a nigga is loved. Obviously, 6ix9ine wasn't loved. Who, at least when it comes to media, people know what to listen to when it comes to music. And people know what to believe. They don't believe y'all niggas no more because y'all are liars. Atlanta is the biggest example of liars because they found one example of them not being able to call it a spade a spade. Yo, these niggas got 3-hour interrogation videos where they're literally spelling it out. This is how Atlanta is coming. And here's the problem, right? The reason why Atlanta look bad is overall, and I'm not going against the whole Atlanta. My thing is that I look at Baby and to me, he just like them. He won't call it out. Nobody calls it out. My point is this. Lil Baby, the hypocrite who's rolling with Thug, who won't address this shit, he's not addressing real gangsters who's doing that, who's actually calling him out. Yo, Baby, I'm not no street nigga. I'm gonna listen to Thug regardless. Even if I think Thug told or not, I'm gonna listen to him regardless because I'm not a street guy. There's actual gangsters who's calling you a rat lover and calling Thug a rat. Y'all not addressing them. So when I see y'all niggas y'all trying to come back on this Atlanta wave and y'all gonna address Akademiks before all the other gangster niggas who's calling y'all rats, there's actual gangsters calling y'all rats. Y'all no mention them, but you gonna address me? When you're hanging with the guys who I could pull up all the niggas you're hanging out with, they're giving statement to the police. They're in court testifying. They're on audio calls and video calls talking to the federal authorities, my nigga. And you're going to ignore all the gangsters calling you out and you going to mention me? Lil Baby and Young Thug. And I hate to group them together, but they're like butt buddies at this point. I don't believe that they could get no type of motion with them constantly lying to themselves and others. You see, the thing with Gunna, it's not about ratting. I want to make that very clear. It's not that I care about ratting. And by the way, if Baby had dissed me with anything but saying I'm the feds, I wouldn't even mention that. But he's acting like he could talk about ratting. Yo, brother, you could talk about Sephora makeup, Get Ready With Me music. You could talk about whatever you want. If I hear you talk about any gangster shit or any type of I hate rats, I'm going to tell you that you had your hand on Young Thug's thigh, nigga, in the fucking drop top, nigga, and he's seen online as one of the niggas who ratted. This nigga sound the feds, he riding with the feds. How does this work, nigga? Look, y'all got a wire on, nigga. Check these niggas for a wire or something. How is these niggas talking about who's the feds? You know who the feds?
Yes, sir.
Promises. Hey, promises.
Just we'll keep promises. Whatever you anytime you ever want to know anything, tell me. I'll tell you anything. But don't tell the world. What you want? Yes, you can. Hey.
Take my number. Straight up. This who you riding with, nigga. Your hand on the thigh, nigga, like all this.
Ain't slipping days. Don't get tired of my this money. I'm still friends from a couple days ago. Every home to change.
Yo, I'm just putting it out there, nigga. I'm gonna talk about it every day. Atlanta's finest. This is Atlanta. When Baby talked about me, this is the visual representation of what I see. One nigga eating the cheese, the other nigga, he looked like he ready to tell me about a robbery, and another nigga who just loves the rats. He's a rat lover right here. What are y'all talking about? This is Atlanta greatest. The Mount Rushmore of cooperates. Look. Zone.
All right, so go off. And let me just say, I'm also in agreement with the way ninjas are deciding to hang out and film it. It's wild. My husband can tell you I'm not with it. All that hanging out with 1, 2, 3, and 4 ninjas hugging. Play acting all up on each other. Null. Miss me with it. To read the entire interview, please go to Simply Put Online under News Meets Entertainment. Part 2. Reviewing the circumstances involving DJ Akademiks and Charlamagne. Akademiks' response to Charlamagne's blog video. Brilliant idiots. I'm not going to lie and say I'm familiar. However, starting in Akademiks' video, he talks about a timeline starting with a Drake and Kendrick beef. I do remember when he started speaking on this from the Kendrick concert. I also vividly remember Akademiks having a problem with the stigma being attached to Drake regarding children, and Drake called a PDF. I can also remember feeling exhausted while searching for something to listen to while I worked in my garden. Yes, Akademiks, I was tired of you talking about Drake, but I understand you're a fan. As Akademiks discusses Charlamagne on The Brilliant Idiots, I'm actually reconsidering my initial opinion about him. Charlamagne is good with media when it's interesting, about music, definitely funny at times on The Breakfast Club. I'm realizing, and I remember, that my husband had stopped listening for reasons. I'm not into politics, and I'm not into harassing or finding out things regarding other people. I remember when Charlamagne expressed his dislike for Drake. He said this numerous times on The Breakfast Club, and from what I gathered from listening back then, hearing the many stories about Charlamagne and his come-up, I can believe he might not be a loyal friend to Akademiks the way Akademiks is to him. This goes with what I was stating before, that not everyone who walks beside you is walking toward the same destination. It actually sounds as if Charlamagne was criticizing Akademiks during the podcast on The Brilliant Idiots. Also, another thing I mentioned before that we old heads aren't great at, but Gen Z is great with, is the internet. The web is a different playground. What I don't think people realize is the information and exposure on display nowadays, and whether it's real or AI. I also have an AI assistant. So when Akademiks stated that offers came to him and he turned away, this is when he would need to ask himself what his friends, or so-called friends, would do in his shoes. If Akademiks had any connection to being grimy, Charleston White would have mentioned it. Watching Charlamagne discuss Grand and Akademiks, he appeared very uncomfortable. Even the man next to him looked at him with a questioning expression. To read the entire interview, please go to Simply Put Online under News Meets Entertainment. Until next time, stay up. Simply Put.
Everything didn't come from you. You just tuned in. Got a jeweler too. Yeah. Log in, level up, that's the code. Tap in, download, then explode. Timeline talking, but I'm moving stuff. Every book mark, building wealth. Information is the new goal. Scroll right, mind bright, hardcore. What you learn really drives your road. Every click could be overload.
Help create a nurturing garden for children to learn and grow. Single parents need resources to foster their children's growth. Your support will help build a joyful learning environment. Help us grow a better future. Donate now.